we're going to make a piece of straight duct. My first duct video was kind of atrocious, so we're going to redo it here today. We're going to make a 4x12 piece of duct, 24 inches long. Now, if you're doing just a half a piece of duct, you would end up with 16 plus 1.25 inches, and that would give you 17 1/4. Now, a lot of times if a piece of ductwork is too big, like let's say you're making 20x12, a lot of times you wouldn't want to do it in a whole piece because you'd end up with 69 1/4 inch piece of metal, and you wouldn't want to carry that around the shop unless you were geared up to make stuff that big in 4 sides. So you would do it in halves. But on smaller duct, you can do them as a full size. So you just take your sizes, add them up. So in this case, we have 4x12, so we end up with 32, and then we have to add our 1.25 inches, which is 33 1/4. So we're going to do this as a full piece because it's very small. But again, a lot of times you won't be able to do a piece of ductwork in full pieces depending on the size, so you would do them in halves. But when you do them in halves, you still have to add your Pittsburgh allowance into the mix, and you have to do it on each half. On a full piece, you only have to do it once. We're doing a full piece, so 4x12, so 4 plus 4 is 8, 12 plus 12 is 24, so we end up with 32. And then we have to add in our Pittsburgh allowance, which is 1.25 inches, which gives us 33 1/4. So we'll cut that now. This piece was just small and easy enough for me to do it in one camera shot. Always leave your awl where you started your mark, so you don't have to find it again if you're blind like me. So we cut 33 1/4. Keep your snips level, up and down. I will do this in marker so that we could see it. You don't need to scribe an inch on the bottom if you're using a notcher, but we will do this anyways, because all our notches are going to go there. Inch for our Pittsburgh, and 1/4 inch for our Pittsburgh lock. So we're going to start out at 5 because we have to allow for our Pittsburgh, then to 12, then to 4, and we should have 12 1/4 to that mark. 12 1/4. Again, we're going to start with 5 for our allowance, then to 12, then to 4 again, and we should have 12 1/4. And there we go. Now you always want your smallest side closest to the Pittsburgh. Now your smallest side. And the reason for this is when you bang this together, you don't want to be banging into the larger side of your piece of ductwork because it's going to create all kinds of noise. You always want to bang your metal together on the smallest side. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to notch this out. And again, you don't really need to know all this math. I just wanted to explain it a little better. The reason that the Pittsburgh is on the smallest side is because when you bend this up and you go to put this together, you want to be banging your metal together into the smaller side. Otherwise, when you're banging it together, you're going to get this. And it's going to make just more noise. I mean, the bigger the duct, the more noise it's going to make anyways. But at least you're not struggling with, let's say a 10x24 piece of duct where you are trying to hammer it together, with it above your head. At least you're working on the smallest side. So there's a number of reasons for that. As far as cross breaking goes, cross breaks are anything above 12 inches. So you could do it at 12. All depends on the gauge of the metal, but my general rule is anything above 12, I'll cross break it. So we're going to run this through the Pittsburgh now, and then we'll go to the break. So you always want to start with your 1/4, 90 degrees. Just go to your notches. And then when you get to your last bend, you just fold the duct against the leaf, and you are done. So there's our finished piece of duct. And the reason I was saying the smaller side close to the Pittsburgh, and to explain it better, is when you're going to hammer this over, you're hammering over on the stronger side. You're not hammering into the weaker side. And then if you're doing a bigger piece of ductwork, you don't have it above your head. It's just not in an uncomfortable position. So that's why we do that. Thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in my next video.